One mistake you should not do now is to assassinate Bobi Wine. At FDC today, in the next elections, out of 400 plus MPs that are contesting, it will barely get 10 seats. In power affects him, affects his political career. That's why he's seen as unlike a politician.
So why is Bobi Wine back in campaigning while nothing has changed?
First of all, Bobi Wine is telling the world one thing, like that he is not safe and his team, they're not safe. That is what he is telling the international community. One of the fruits of that, yesterday, but one of these days, a few days ago, he is invited on CNN, as the spokesperson is invited on Al Jazeera. This is what Bobi Wine is telling the world, because he knows that Ugandan government survives on donations from this Western world. The Western is surviving on donations from Western world. So that is what he is telling, and he is scoring, right? That is one. Two, he's also telling Ugandans, even if I'm not a general, I'm willing to get involved into the general stuff, because when we were growing up, anybody who tried to do things like politics, you'll be reminded that you should leave things of generals to generals. Now Bobi Wine, every war produces its general. The people power struggle is now like a war. It's not even campaigning. Actually, it clears exactly what he's been telling people. He's been telling people we are in a struggle to liberate ourselves, right? So he is portraying the same thing, that this is not the usual campaign, and indeed it is not the usual campaign. For the first time in Uganda's history, we've seen a political opponent campaigning with a bulletproof on his body, so he's scared of his life. After all, also, this guy is a bit calculative. I don't know what who is calculating for him. First of all, he did visit Electoral Commission. He found out that when he was on the entrance, they had put posters of him when he's having kind of weed in mouth, and they put funny words, but those photos were guarded by military and Uganda police, right? What did they want? The people who put it there, and why did they put it when he was coming? One of the things they wanted is that Bobi Wine get mad and his people, so they fight back, and that was giving them a legitimate reason to shoot at them, to kill them, you understand? Bobi Wine was smart enough. He said, no, that is the old me, but do I care? He doesn't care. He won. But that is also what he did. I would say he saved Uganda from a genocide, because I want to make, before you go further, to you Uganda police, army, and whatsoever holding a gun in Uganda, one mistake you should not do now is to assassinate Bobi Wine. Because if you ever assassinate him, these two things will happen, or one thing. We're going to have a genocide. But this genocide is going to be different tribes of Uganda against one tribe. And that tribe that will be against another tribe is the tribe that has more DPCs and more RPCs and so on. Those positions, we all know that tribe. That is one thing that will happen if ever. And Bobi Wine not to tell his people not to get charged, not to portray him like they want him to be portrayed, is doing a very good service to this country. To keep Uganda the way it is, however messy it is, his anger, his impatience with the police officer and so on, they can take this country to turmoil today. Like it not. So I'll give him 9 out of 10. His behavior, like the way he's behaving now with police officers. Even when Nubianli is shot, when he's being tear gassed, the canister landed on his body, he's not charged. People have been provoking him. Hey, you don't have your family members. Even his family member, youngest brother, is on the campaign trail. That is a leader. He's risking it all. But why? Why is he risking it? He knows that he has no other home apart from Uganda. He knows that is the only thing he had. So, him going back to campaign, it is necessary. It is a necessary evil. He has no choice, because even when he goes back to his house to sit down, he can be shot from there. You understand? The other time there was kind of a drone hovering around his house, and the police said no, that was a star. The police spokesperson, he said no, that he's just scared. You get, so they can find him anywhere. You understand? So he better dies at work, and when he dies at work, Uganda will have what? A genocide. So he's doing, and now it is in interest of Ugandan government to protect Bobi Wine. It is in their interest, actually, to make sure he is as safe as possible. He is safe at all costs. That is what should happen. Because if they do not do that, those officials, today we are in a coronavirus, we are in the middle of a pandemic, even them, they won't be able to fly out of Uganda. You get? Because where they had houses, you need some good processes. You need a longer process to migrate to this place. So they should know that now, as we're moving, even their relatives, this is the only place they have. They should handle him with care. That is what I'm thinking. So it is okay for him to go back with an helmet and a bulletproof to portray this is that reality that is going on in the country.
But don't you think he's provoking them in one way or another?
Provoking? What do you mean by provoking, by the way? Doesn't he have a right? As a Ugandan, first of all, he was scrutinized from his education background. They confirmed, yes, the guy went to school, right? Age, yes, is 38 today, and the minimum age today to contest for the presidency must have 18 years. Right? And in the old constitution, before they lifted the age limit to let Mr. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to sit, it was 35. So even the old constitution is also qualifying those two things, right? Also, is a fully citizen of Uganda. Another thing is a Ugandan born.
But why do you think
he qualifies?
Why do you think Museveni is feeling threatened by Bobi Wine? Because he's the only presidential candidate who's being tortured and whose campaigns are being stopped. The others, they're being allowed to campaign free.
First of all,
why do you think he's the target?
First of all, I will say two things. In Uganda today, the elections on opposition parties, there are only two genuine presidential candidates, I think, in my view. That is General Muntu and the Chagulanyi Robert. Those are the two genuine for me. But why Museveni is not bothered with Muntu Muntu has been affected by three things. First of all, General Muntu, with the general title, as general, the way he is, the overstay of General Museveni in power affects him, affects his political career. That's why he's seen as unlike a politician. Another reason, General Muntu, he comes from the same tribe as Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, like same region, and the tribe may be different, but they come from the same region. Another reason, he has served into Museveni's government before. So people, when they get these three reasons, at least one of them, people, when they look at General Muntu, they look at someone who's similar to Yoweri Museveni in two ways, as a general and as a Western Uganda elites. And I see some crisis that now General Muntu would have been a very nice person to replace Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, but he cannot, because he is unlucky. Ugandans cannot listen to him. Do you know why? Besigye, Museveni, and other Western Uganda elites, they failed to plan for him, to give him away. He has been in FDC, a strong opposition party. It had more than 35, I think around 35 members of parliament. In last parliament, I can authoritatively predict that FDC today, in the next elections, out of 400 plus MPs that are contesting, it will barely get 10 seats. 1, 2, 3, 10 seats. FDC may not be able. Do you know why? Muntu had to split FDC because they were not giving him a chance. So he started over with the ANT. ANT is a young party, but also the marketing strategy of his party, right? Since he's the face, it's hard to market that party when he's a general. Because today I want to think like a common Ugandan. General Muntu is a general, and a local Ugandan will ask, when we let General Museveni rule us, are we enjoying this country? Then you will get the answer. Are we enjoying when we are under control of generals? Which I doubt. You understand? That one hits him. You get? So now there is what we call correlation and causality. Two things is suffering from. Those two things, they hit him, is correlated with those in power, right? Is not independent, if I may use the statistical language. Is not an independent variable from the other variables. Now I leave that. Back to answer your question. Why is Museveni concentrating on the person of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert? Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is a threat today of Museveni. Do you know why? The failure of Museveni to find a possible successor from Western elites or a mole, someone he has made from another region. You understand? For example, Moi, when he wanted a successor, he chased Kibaki in Kenya and he created gap for him. So people, then also he picked Uhuru Kenyatta. He made him a minister of finance. He was planning for his successor. Right? He made sure that he controls everywhere. That Uhuru Kenyatta, he can come at a later stage. If Kibaki betrays me, at least I will suffer only for 5 years or 10 years. Then Uhuru can come. Right? He planned that ahead of him. Right? Then, also what Moi did, when he chased Kibaki, it was a political move. They never separated, like, he was just planning for himself. He managed to do that. When Museveni chased people from, when people ran away from the the NRM government, the Besiges and all that, they have been fighting for him outside the government 20 plus years. So people say, is it by mistake? So Museveni at a point, he had to lose elections and give Besige, right? He refused to do that, right? Or they would have sat down and said, okay, we need Muntu when he's still in FDC, FDC is still catching people, right? Would have done that. Amama Mbabazi was a possible choice, maybe from NRM within. You understand? He would have contested. Last elections, Amama Mbabazi contested as an independent on Go Forward. Now he's no more, right? So Museveni's failure to plan when to leave the stage, that is one of the biggest mistakes, and it is one of the reasons why Bobi Wine is formidable. Bobi Wine. Then people have been following Besigye and Museveni. Those have been the two contenders for the last 20 plus years. Then people realize, I think these two guys have more similarities than differences. But when people, first of all, the age difference of Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine has never worked with Museveni, so you cannot blame anything that is gone wrong in Museveni's government and you blame it on Bobi Wine. You'll be stupid, right? So he is safe. Another thing, Bobi Wine is representing a common man. He's a civilian, I said this. 2, Bobi Wine represents a generation, and the political power shifts on a generational basis after between 40 to 50 years. Museveni has been in power. I think we can say he's been disturbing Uganda from 1980 when he went to Bush. So he has been influencing politics of this country. Those are almost 40 years. So people are tired of him. Naturally, they feel like, no, this is not. Also, Museveni failed to sell his son, who will be close to Bobi Wine's generation. You understand? He only taught him how to be an army officer, but he did not sell him, he did not market him as a common man to relate with common people. So Bobi Wine, he is lucky